For this project, we're going to be creating a website checker. So it's going to take a list of websites and it's going to check what their current status is. So maybe it's offline, maybe it's online, maybe there's something wrong with the website, but we're going to be able to use a CSV file to loop through a lot of websites and check what they are up to. So for example, if we run this script, if we tap on play, you'll see that it's slowly going to give us back information based on the website, and it's going to tell us whether it's actually up and running. And we're also going to handle some situations such as dealing with websites that don't exist. So here it's going to say could not get information for this website because it actually just doesn't exist. And then we also have websites that also don't exist or URLs that don't exist. So we'll get a 404 error that says not found, nothing matches the given URI. Or we might also get a forbidden error. So we're getting a lot of information back based on which websites we are looping through. 200 OK means the website is up and running and that we got a successful request. So as you can see, these are just 10 websites we put through, but you're going to be able to insert hundreds if you want. Right now, this is a simple CSV file with 10 different websites. And I'm not going to write this websites.csv file out by hand for this lesson, but it will be available in the source code section or in the resource section of this Udemy course. Go to the project that is titled Website Checker, and you can copy it from there. And in PyCharm, if you want to create a CSV file, just hold Command or Control plus N to create a new file. Tap on that, type in websites.csv, or actually this will just be called test, and you'll be able to insert your CSV values. So we're not going to need that one because we already have one that's called websites. And again, this is available on my GitHub repository. So just tap on the resource section and go to the source code if you want to just copy and paste this one. Otherwise, we can go to main.py and get started with writing our script. So first of all, we need to import CSV to work with CSV functionality. Then we need to import requests, which for me is already installed, but for you, you're going to have to open up the terminal and type in pip install requests, and then you'll be able to import requests. Then there's another package you need to import, and this one's called fake_user agent. And once you have that installed, you can close the terminal because we don't need that anymore, and we can import from fake user agent, import user agent. And I'll explain that in just a moment, but let's continue with the imports. And finally, from HTTP, we're going to import HTTP status so we can get some statuses back. Now, the first thing we want to do is get the websites from the CSV file. So here we'll type in def get websites, and we need a CSV path of type string, and that will return to us a list of strings that we can work with. And of course, that list of string is going to contain the websites. So the websites of type list of string is going to equal an empty list so that we can populate it with websites. Then below that, we can type in with open because we need to open this CSV file in read mode so we can grab values from it as file. And to use this CSV, we need to create a reader object. So the reader is going to equal csv.reader from this file. Then we can say for row in reader. And with that, we can finally loop through that reader and get the values back. But first we need to check if https:// is not in the row at the index of 1, then we're going to append that. So website.append f https:// and we need to add the row at the index of 1. The row at the index of 1 is going to be this row over here. So Apple is at the index of 1, Facebook's at the index of 1, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the indexing is at the index of 0. So that would be row at the index of 0. This is row at the index of 1. So we need to do that, of course, for each row in the reader. And we actually need the HTTPS to make the request. And as you can see, none of my websites actually have that. So we are checking whether it does have that, because if you download the websites from some sort of list on the internet. Some might have HTTPS, some might not. And whatever it is, we want to make sure that we can append this. Else, we're going to just append the websites as they are. Because if the website already has HTTPS, we do not want to append this to it. So here you can just append row at the index of 1. Now you might be thinking, okay, what if the website has HTTP? And you got me there. We're not handling that in this tutorial, but it would be a good idea as well to handle websites that have only HTTP. For example, we can check if HTTPS is not in row 1 or HTTP in row 1, then we'll do the following. So this is much more safe because of course, if a website has HTTP, we do not want to add HTTPS in front of HTTP because this would look absolutely ridiculous. So that's a much better check than what I showed you earlier. So maybe you want to do that, but we'll just keep it simple for now and leave it at that. At the end of this, we're going to return the websites. So that's our first function that just takes the websites from the CSV. And it's a good idea to test it. So we're going to print get websites from the CSV file path, which is just going to be websites.csv. And if we run this, we should get our websites back as a list with HTTPS in front of each one of them. And we can also test what happens if we actually have HTTPS here. So we do that. If that already exists, it should not append it one more time to that website. So if we scroll to SoundCloud, it should look exactly the same as from earlier. But next we need to get a user agent. So def get user agent. And that's going to return to us a string. Now for user agent, we need to create a user agent object. So that's going to be UA is equal to user agent. And what we want to return is the user agent. And here you get the option to choose between Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Edge, and so on. So what a user agent does is tell the browser essentially, or tells the website that we're visiting what browser we are on. So to demonstrate that, I'm just going to print the user agent now. So get user agent, if I can get to that. So get user agent. And if I print that, you'll see that the user agent for Firefox is going to be Mozilla 5.0, and it's going to have all of this information that the browser can read. So we're simulating essentially that we're on Firefox for the browser. And this can sometimes help you get around the restrictions of websites because a lot of websites have these safety mechanisms put into place to stop crawlers or scripts from getting free information from them. So sometimes you're going to have to use a user agent to get around that. We might change this to Chrome if we want. And we'll leave it at that. Next, we want to get the status description. So def get status description. And that's going to take a status code of type integer, and it's going to return to us a string, which is going to be the description. So for value in HTTPS status, if the value is equal to the status code, we're going to create a description from it. So here we can type in description of type string is equal to this formatted description, parentheses, value, and the value name. So value.name, and outside of the parentheses, value.description. And I'll show you exactly what all of this is in just a moment, but then we want to return that description. And if none of this works, we're going to add another return, which is going to simulate the else block. So return parentheses, question mark 3 times, and unknown status code. So here we're checking for the values in HTTP status, which I did not show you earlier, but this is an enum. So when you type in HTTP status, you're going to get forbidden, not extended, or bad request. You're going to get all of these HTTP statuses. So if you type in bad request, you're also going to get the option to get the value and the name. And I can actually just print this so you have a better idea. We'll just print bad request, name, and I'll duplicate that and say value. So if we print these two values, you'll see bad request and 400. So what we're doing here is inserting the status code we'll get from the website, and for each value in the HTTP status, we're checking that our status code is equal to one of them inside the HTTP status, because this gives us a lot of free information that we can use instead of writing this out by hand. Next, let's check the website. So check website, and it's going to be a website of type string, and it's going to take a user agent. So user agent. And here we are at the easy part. We just need to try to get that code. So the code of type integer is going to equal requests.get. And here we need to insert the website, and the headers are going to be the user agent with a user agent. And finally, we want to get the status code. So dot status code. So that's the code we're going to get. Then we want to print the website followed by the get status description for that code. Otherwise, we need to accept this exception that we might have a website that's not compatible or that we can't reach. And here we'll just type in print could not get information for website. And we'll insert the website so the user knows what they are dealing with. So those are the 4 functions we need for this script. Now we can create a main function just to keep things nice and clean. And here we'll type in sites of type list of string. It's going to equal get websites from the website CSV. The user agent is going to equal, or it's of type string first, and it's going to equal get user agent. And now we just need to loop through those websites. So for sites in sites, and this actually should be sites up here. So for sites in sites, we're going to check that website. So check the website with the site and the user agent. Now, all we need to do is check if name is equal to main and run main. And if everything went smoothly, we should have this website checker. So request OK, OK, OK. Everything seems okay besides whatsapp.com hello, because that was not found. And Udemy is not letting us access it because it has a safety mechanism put into place. But sometimes that can be fixed by changing the user agent. So we can add something such as Internet Explorer instead. And this time we're going to go through everything once again, but it's still forbidden. So that didn't work either. We can try with Firefox. It's still forbidden. So none of those helped for Udemy, and LinkedIn had one that said too many requests. So better that we stick to Chrome. But still, for a majority of websites, we're able to check whether they are up and running or what their current status is. And you can modify this, of course, to be anything you want. You can also say, let's say abc.com or foxnews.com. And this can also be youtube.com. And I'm just going to remove the rest from the CSV file, and we will go back to main and tap on the green arrow. Now it's checking all 4 of them, and they are all online. And as you can see, it tells us 200, OK, request fulfilled, document follows. So we get a lot of good information for each website. If a website goes down, we're going to get a different message. If a website has a page that doesn't exist, we're going to get not found. So we'll get a lot of information back for each website.